Mad Dog, I'd like to start with you, sir.
Yeah.
Does Steph Curry have more to prove this season?
To me, he does. Now, I know
What?
Steve probably. Well, can I talk? Can I talk?
It's a little crazy.
I
but
know
yeah.
Steve. I know Stevie probably wants to put him top 10 all the time. I'll buy that. He's not a top 10 player, but that's what Steve wants. He's a great Hall of Fame player, and he's transformational with the way he plays. But let's look at Curry in the big game. They won 3 championships. He wouldn't have won 2 of them if it wasn't for Durant. Durant won 2 of those titles for him. The one championship they won, he wasn't the MVP. Iguodala was. And if Kyrie and Love didn't get hurt, they were down 2-1. They wouldn't have beat David Blatt and LeBron with Antoine Jameson as a power forward. They wouldn't have won that series. The year that they won the 73 and they blew the 3-1 lead to LeBron's Cavs with that wonderful championship, who outplayed Curry in that series? Kyrie did. No question about it. And listen, he's fun to watch. He's a wonderful shooter, unbelievable ball handler. We all know he's an all-time great. But immortality is what I'm talking about. And right now, in my eyes, as a sports fan, when you tell me 30 years from now, well, is Stephen Curry an immortal? I look at championships, the big spots, I'm saying no. My eyes. Go ahead.
Then I got some glasses for you. You understand what I'm saying? We need to check those eyes. We need to check those. That's right. Get your glasses. Because I don't even understand what the hell you just said. Let me tell you something, doggy. I just don't know about you today. I just don't know about you today. This is unbelievable. The greatest shooter God ever created is playing right now. Right. Everyone on the planet concedes he's the greatest shooter God has ever created. And you're telling me that's not immortal status right there? He's
championships.
Listen. He's a 3-time champion. He's been to 5 straight NBA finals. Excuse me. And listen, 3-time champion. He was on the court. And by the way, while you're treating him like he's some bench warmer that just happened to ride the coattails of a Kevin Durant and others, I would remind you. I got some numbers right here. 7 years. This is just playoffs, because we know he's done the regular season. This is just playoffs. Career averages of 26.5 points, 26, 6, and 5. Okay?
Yeah, we know that.
In the finals, 26.5 points, 6, and 5. All right? Yes, on 38.5% shooting from three-point range. I'm just so appalled. We understand that the numbers dip from what we're accustomed to seeing him do in a regular season. I'll concede that. I'm not denying that. But we're acting like the dude is some bench warmer or something. Or he's just on the court.
I didn't say that.
Listen, when you bring up Kyrie, I will remind you, we might have issues with Kyrie's decision-making and some of the aloofness or whatever the case may be. But Kyrie Irving is one of the greatest talents we've seen in the game of basketball. This brother and the ball handling skills. If it wasn't for his ball handling skills, we'd also be calling Steph Curry one of the great, if not the best ball handler in basketball.
So let me ask you this.
So all of this, we just gonna sit up there and say, well, you know what? No, not an immortal. When you've got that 3-time champion and is known as the greatest shooter in the history of basketball, that's immortal status to me.
Do you think Magic Johnson, with a 3-1 lead, 2 of which at home, think he would have lost that series?
No.
No way. No way.
Can I come back? Can I come back with my own question?
You think Larry Bird? You think Larry Bird up 3-1, NBA final, where immortality, that's what it's about, with a 3-1 lead. You think he loses that series? Not a chance.
Let me tell you this. Time out. If you recall, he was on the court, but he wasn't 100% healthy for that series against LeBron and them when they came back from 3-1. Let's also point this out, too. Don't get me started with, you know how much I love Adam Silver, the commissioner of the National Basketball Association. But that damn stimulus package that they gave the Cleveland Cavaliers, you sit up there and you eject Draymond Green from Game 5. From Game 5. The same Game 5. Listen, remember this. And this is how I know this. Because I had picked the Warriors to win that series in 5. Here's exactly what happened. The game that LeBron threw Draymond Green to the floor and Draymond Green kicked his leg up, the Warriors won that game in Cleveland to go up 3-1 and were going back to close the deal at the Oracle. They suspend Draymond Green for Game 5, Andrew Bogut and Andre Iguodala, who was an elite defender, and obviously Bogut was a front court defender. They both get hurt in the Game 5. Draymond is ejected from, and as a result, they were never the same, and Andre Iguodala didn't even come back, really, all right, because he's hobbling around. And after that is how LeBron and them won that Game 7. Let's not forget that even though Andre Iguodala played the Game 7, they were never the same. I'm just saying to you, all of those things in the consider. There's a lot of mitigating circumstances that come with why Steph Curry lost, but there's no doubting his greatness. None.
Do we avoid what? Game 6 and Game 7 don't count? And how in the world do you sit there and say, with his ridiculous behavior, Green, who stepped on Steven Adams in the groin in the previous series and didn't get suspended, and now you're going to sit there and he got wrongfully suspended?
He got a
What, he didn't get suspended? What, he stepped on the guy's groin? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's where you're going today.
I'm saying to you, excuse me, there were circumstances that led to LeBron James having that easier path to ultimately capturing a Game 7 and then winning it. You're ignoring all of those things. You got your twist on it, I got mine. They should have been done in 5, and they would have if Draymond Green hadn't gotten suspended for that game. And they probably suspended him that game because, listen, okay, we all know we want to see LeBron in the finals. They were about to get smoked in 5 games, okay? I'll never forget that. But getting back to Steph Curry, I'm going to challenge you again. Immortal status. The greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
I agree. We know that.
Who's a 2-time league MVP and a 3-time champion.
Well, let me ask,
and you're telling me he has something to prove?
Where are you putting him all the time, then? You're going to make him a top 10 player? He's not a top 10 player. Where are you putting him all the time?
You know what? I got to think about that. I think he could be.
No, he's not.
I think he could be.
Are you kidding me?
I do. Yes, I do.
Top 10?
Yes, I do. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.